Yeah, showing that 1080p. All right, y'all, we live, man. Back with another video. Y'all know how we do. Always pushing help world better understand the self. So check this out. We got 12 officers, 2 sheriffs, right? They get indicted by the feds. Let me go ahead and make sure I get this tapped in. I got y'all. I'm gonna play this. In fact, we ain't even gonna hold y'all. Let everybody get into the chat. You know what? Let me go ahead and ain't even finna waste y'all time like this. Let's get it.
Talk about some incredibly serious allegations that mark a it's just a monumental betrayal of public trust is what we're talking about here today. We're here today to announce the indictment and arrest of 20 individuals, most of them law enforcement officers in the Mississippi Delta region. The indictments generally allege the taking of bribes to attempt to aid and abet drug trafficking, as well as associated crimes. The first indictment that I'll talk about involves a conspiracy whereby law enforcement officers and their accomplices are alleged to have agreed to provide safe passage for illegal narcotics and drug proceeds to the Mississippi Delta region, and ultimately on the last of those runs into Memphis itself. And they did this in return for bribe payments, for money. They are also indicted for related firearms offenses and, of course, individual counts related to specific runs throughout the Mississippi Delta. Indicted in this conspiracy are the following individuals, and when I'm giving you this list of places of employment, a lot of them are still employed, or were up to today, in those places, but the places I'm referring to where they're employed, that's really during the times that are relevant to the charges in their indictment. So indicted in this particular conspiracy were Brandon Addison, who's a Mississippi law enforcement officer employed by the Hollandale Police Department and the Humphreys County Sheriff's Office at times relevant to the indictment. Javari Howard, a Mississippi law enforcement officer employed by the Metcalf Police Department and later, during the course of the investigation, the Hollandale Police Department. Milton Gaston, the elected sheriff of Washington County, Mississippi. True Ron Grayson, who was employed by the Humphreys County Sheriff's Office.
Now, when I hear these names, the top dogs is definitely, I see that as Caucasian names, but once we get to the bottom, it's like, you see the black name.
Bruce Williams, who was the elected, or is at the moment, the elected sheriff of Humphreys County, Mississippi. Sean Williams, who was employed by the Yazoo City Police Department. Dexter Franklin, who was employed by the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Wendell Johnson, who was employed by the Bolivar County Sheriff's Office. Now, I want to take note on this particular name. When you see the indictments themselves, you're going to have 22 names. I'm about to explain why we're telling you 20 people are now charged. And so this next individual who appears in the indictment, I want to make this very clear. Based on information obtained today, the charges against Amber Holmes have been dismissed. She's no longer charged in this case and is no longer implicated in any wrongdoing related to this investigation. The remaining co-defendants on that first indictment,
No, man. Amber sound like a bunny, man.
Large one, are Marcus Nolan, Hassan Roach, Jeremy Salas, Torio Chaz Wiseman, Pierre Lakes, and Derek Wallace. The first 4 of those individuals I named escorted alleged drugs on runs on a run to Memphis, and likewise the last 2 persons I named, Mr. Lakes and Mr. Wallace joined the conspiracy on a trip that was taken by a number of the co-conspirators to Miami, Florida. A separate indictment charges a conspiracy as follows. It's essentially the attempt to aid and abet the transport and distribution of illegal narcotics in return for bribes. related offenses regarding the carrying of firearms while doing that, and that the crux of that indictment was the transport of what the defendants thought were 25 kilograms of cocaine through the Mississippi Delta. And those defendants are Jamario Sanford, who is employed at the Greenwood Police Department, Marvin Flowers, who is employed at the Sunflower County Sheriff's Department. And again, this is the second of those names I mentioned to you. You'll see in an indictment the name Taquana Rucker. And again, based on information obtained today, the charges against Ms. Rucker have been dismissed. She's no longer charged in this case and is no longer implicated in any wrongdoing in this investigation. Lord. A further indictment charges Martavius Moore, who's a police officer in Greenville, Mississippi, with aiding and abetting the transport of what he thought was 25 kilograms of cocaine and carrying a firearm, of course, during that. Marquavius Bankhead was a patrolman with the Mississippi Highway Patrol.
He was a police officer?
And he has been indicted, and he's no longer with the Highway Patrol. He has recently resigned from the Highway Patrol. He was indicted for, again, aiding and abetting the transport of 25 kilograms of cocaine, or what he thought was that. Chaka Gaines with the Greenville Police Department was again charged with attempting to aid and abet the transportation of narcotics, essentially to traffic drugs through the Delta, and was likewise charged with a firearm offense related to that. DeQuarian Smith with the Humphreys County Sheriff's Department and the Isola Police Department was likewise charged with conspiracy to aid and abet the possession, transportation, and distribution of illegal narcotics. Finally, and this is always important to say at one of these, I'd remind everybody present that an indictment is just that, it's an allegation. That indictment, those allegations have to be proven in a court of law. Everybody in this country operates under the presumption of innocence, and nothing's changed about that. That being said, there's an 18th century philosopher, writer, you name it, he did a lot, named Edmund Burke, and there's a quote that is often associated with him. And that is that the only thing necessary for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing. And I am before you today profusely thanking the good men of the FBI, because they'll tell you a little bit more about the investigation itself, but this was a years-long investigation. This wasn't anything that happened overnight. They invested a lot of time, a lot of resources into conducting a very thorough investigation that continues today. And I cannot thank them enough. The work put in by Assistant United States Attorney Robert Mims has been phenomenal. And I just appreciate the fact that good men and good women are standing in that breach to try to restore confidence in our law enforcement agencies in Mississippi. And at this time, I'm very much honored to invite Deputy Director Andrew Bailey to make a few comments. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, FBI Deputy Director Andrew Bailey. I am present here today to support the mission of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and to enhance the cooperation and coordination with our proud partners at the United States Attorney's Office. I want to emphasize that my presence is to underline the importance and the magnitude of this case. This operation and these indictments are a success, but they point to a troubling reality. We're talking about 14 current or former law enforcement officers, 6 co-conspirators who are alleged to have sold out the public, promoted crimes that they should have been investigating and stopped, and instead of working to stem the flow of dangerous controlled substances, the evidence will show they took bribes to facilitate the distribution of controlled substances. They betrayed the trust that the public placed.
Man, the CIA been doing this for years. It's like, what do you mean? They've been shipping that stuff. What's the guy named? Gary Owens? Not Gary Owens, but I can't think of his name, man. Gary Webb exposed them of shipping the drugs to America. It was a part of some kind of cartel that they had ties to. Webb, there you go, cow dog. I know you knew it. Gary Webb, he exposed it and then he got assassinated. So my point is, we arresting these police officers, but we know y'all want to keep that. Y'all want to keep that moving. That's been here since the 80s, bro. It's like now the police officers getting arrested for this stuff. It's like at this point, it's on the police officers, the CIA.
Disgraced the badge and undermined the hard work of good law enforcement officers across this state and across the region. This corruption permeated all levels. It extended across multiple counties and multiple jurisdictions in the state of Mississippi and beyond. But the Department of Justice and its subcomponent, the FBI, will not allow the wrongdoing and wrongdoers to get away with it.
They probably gonna kick them out and then set up a new trap and make some more money. It's like, if it's money to be made, it's money to be made.
We will stop these kinds of disgraceful and shameful abuses of public office.
Yeah.
And will prove that we will not tolerate corruption amongst America's criminal justice system. I want to acknowledge the brave men and women of the FBI Jackson Field Office and the incredible work they did leading this multi-year complex investigation. I want to thank members of the SWAT and HRT teams for their professionalism in apprehending the suspects, these corrupt officers, without incident. I want to thank our state and local partners for supporting this team effort. I want to thank the Criminal Investigation Division's Public Corruption Unit for leading these efforts. I want to thank the United States Attorney, Clay Joyner, for his partnership in this endeavor, and Attorney General Bondi and the entire DOJ for their leadership and guidance in these matters. This administration has worked tirelessly to support the FBI's work across the country, and we are grateful. As to the broader significance, public corruption is a crime against the entire community, against all citizens, and against the rule of law itself. It leads to the loss of trust in law enforcement and erodes the justice system, thereby endangering citizens. Mississippi communities deserve better. The American public.
And we know Mississippi is already, bro, that's one of the worst places to be. But I guess they claim they're doing something, even though it's like more arrests is happening. You can keep arresting people, bro. It looks like it's benefit to the justice system to have the cocaine here. Feel me? Because you can arrest police officers, you can arrest citizens, you could take it and you could put it back on the streets and make money. It's like, what are we doing? At some point, man, I think that'll cut it out if they just make it all legal. Whatever people want to take and put into their body, it's on them. Y'all can't police it because y'all got all kind of pills and drugs and all kind of stuff out here that people shouldn't be taking. So it should just eliminate all of that because they're making a lot of money. I think they're making too much money though. You know, cheapo snap. They showing the pics, judging by the names, you thought most was black. No, listen. Tania, I did a research, and when I'm looking up the people for the pictures, I'm finding the white faces. I found a couple black faces too, but those are the one that I found, and I'm like, one of the ones they had let go, I think her name was Amber, but a lot of them was black names. A lot of black people went down. So, but the heads, I think the top people was, you know, they ain't letting no black people. You know, they only letting black people do the love, you know, the scumbag work. They probably was there, you know, accepting the money, letting people know what to do, how to do it. But, you know, the white people were sitting back there collecting their check. But I'm going to let them play a little bit. Then I'm going to show y'all the judge, bro, that just got fired for doing the most. You wouldn't even imagine. Wait till y'all see this, bro. This shit crazy.
Deserves better. Let this be a lesson for those sworn to serve the public that if you're a good law enforcement officer, the FBI will always stand with you. But for those corrupt individuals who abuse their office, we will come for you and hold you accountable.
Say the FBI will always stand with you. If you're a good cop out there, you're doing the right thing, the FBI will always stand with you. Like, yeah, right.
To all Americans listening, the FBI will never stop protecting from these kinds of abuses of authority. Thank you for being here today, and I'd like to turn it over to the head of the Jackson Field Office, SAC Eichhoff.
Nah.
Robert Eichhoff, Special Agent in Charge, FBI here in Mississippi.
Like a Ku Klux Klan member.
FBI Jackson is proud to announce multi-year investigation that exemplifies the FBI's dedication to restoring the public's trust.
Yeah,
As alleged in the indictments, this investigation began after FBI Jackson received information on allegations of systemic law enforcement corruption that crossed multiple counties in the Delta of Mississippi.
Systemic?
These corrupt law enforcement officers provided protection to those whom they believed were drug traffickers in exchange for bribe payments. Each of the law enforcement officers arrested had taken an oath to protect and serve their respective communities, an oath that they violated. The positions of these arrested officers ranged from patrol officers up to police chiefs and sheriffs. This type of corruption strikes at the heart of community. It erodes public confidence and undermines the strength of law enforcement integrity.
It's over with.
Earlier this month, the FBI responded to the mass killing in Leland, Mississippi. During many interviews, we learned of the community's distrust of select law enforcement officers due to the concerns of corruption. Law enforcement is only effective when the community they protect can trust that law enforcement officers are honestly serving the community's interests.
They're not. In the drugs that y'all caught the police officers with, it makes sense for the community for you guys to make money, it seems like, because it's like y'all don't want to stop it from getting over here. So it's benefiting somebody that is keep being here. And it's not the people that's going to jail and the people that's taking it, to be real. It's the higher ups, in my opinion. Let me know what y'all think.
Mississippians deserve and rightfully expect officers to obey their oath. The FBI is committed to working in partnership with the United States Attorney's Office to investigate officers who violate the oath, the law, and the public's trust.
They doing that everywhere. Violate. It's just we got cameras right now. Like they'll do stuff like they did with the boy in Florida. They was like, hey, it's inclement weather. Like you gotta have your lights on when it's raining. And it's like not really raining outside. They know little slick tactics, you know, to break the law. That's what they do.
We would not be here today if it was not for the dedication of the men and women of the FBI, and in particular, the case team that have devoted years focused on.
We do not trust the FBI neither. Y'all are just as corrupt as the police, bro. It's sad, but it's true. Our whole justice system is corrupt, bro. These guys ain't really doing nothing either. They just collecting a check, in my opinion.
On bringing trust, renewing trust, restoring trust of law enforcement, specifically within the Delta region. Their commitment is born out of our mission, which is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution.
All right, so y'all see him talking. Check this out, though. It's this judge, bro. You ain't finna believe what this judge did, bro. It's like, you can't, like, I can't make this stuff up. Check this out. I'm gonna show y'all right here. This is a nasty judge right here, man. Judge nasty, man.
Superior Court judge abruptly resigns after an incident with police, but Yavapai County did not release details initially on what led up to the resignation.
That's where we come in. And now Prescott police body cam footage shows the judge allegedly urinating in the street. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum has the video, the report, the court filings, after confirming the identity of the public official.
What are we doing?
Uber.
This is disgusting. It's just after 1:30 in the morning on October 4th, and the woman who just pulled up her pants, sitting on the bench, is now face to face with Prescott police. She is Judge Pro Tempore Christine Schaff Olson. The location is known to many as Whiskey Row at Montezuma and Gurley Street, on the same block as the Courthouse Plaza where Schaff Olson works. A source who wishes to remain anonymous obtained this body cam footage, providing it to Fox 10. As the officers try to identify her, Schaff Olson's husband gets involved.
Are you her husband?
Yep.
Okay. Can you hang out over by the cab for me?
Nope. Come on.
Yeah, you can, because I'm conducting an investigation.
For what?
Because I just saw her puking and urinating, exposing herself to several people.
That wasn't her.
That's Jason Olson, the judge's husband, and also the Parks and Recreation Manager for the
White
town
man
of
say
Chino
so.
Valley. Police say Olson did not listen to instructions to back away, and as he's being detained, officers say he resisted arrest by tensing up his right arm before being taken to the ground.
Get your ass on the ground, dude.
I'm not doing anything.
They crashing out, y'all.
515, we're fighting.
I'm not fighting.
Grab the cuffs.
The police report says Schaff Olson showed signs of intoxication and slurred her speech. Schaff Olson was appointed as a judge for Yavapai County Superior Court in 2023. She was a partner for her own law firm for 2 years and has been practicing law for a decade, according to her LinkedIn resume. If you listen closely, she emphasizes her official title.
Minimum, you're getting a
Real
ticket.
call, dog.
My name is Judge Christina Olson.
The report also says several witnesses walked by minutes earlier and waved the officer down after they saw the judge urinating.
Are they visiting? I have no idea. She's useless. She can't even spell her name.
We reached out to the Yavapai County Superior Court for comment. The court administrator's initial news release just days after the incident said Schaff Olson resigned to attend to personal matters. The latest statement from Yavapai County Superior Court says in part, the Superior Court is aware of the allegations against Judge Christine Schaff Olson. This information was brought to the court's attention on October 4. Judge Schaff Olson accepted full responsibility and formally submitted her resignation on Monday, October 6. To ensure coverage of her calendar, Judge Schaff Olson agreed her last day on the bench would be October 31.
All right, this is your
Halloween. So
citation. It's a misdemeanor for urinating or defecating in public, okay? So you're going to have to sign it, promising to appear in court in about a month, all right? Your husband's going to be transported to the Yavapai County Jail. He'll be booked in there.
Jason Olson was cited for resisting
My
arrest,
black tea.
interfering with a crime scene investigation, and obstruction of government operations. His employer, the town of Chino Valley, has not responded to our request for comment. Body cam footage shows Judge Schaff Olson struggling to sign the citation.
Nope, right here on the screen. On the screen.
On the screen.
Her attorney,
how the heck she a judge, bro? This what I'm saying. Like, how do these people get these positions? I don't understand it. Like, we'll be better off having kids in these positions, bro. I ain't lying to y'all, man. Let me go right there. But yeah, I just I had to show that, man. I had to show that, but I tapped in with that, man. You know, the police officers, you got the white smokes up there. Man, the police officers just crazy because they arrest a lot of us for all kind of stuff, for having flowers, man. So I already know that. Let me see what my brother Introvert Rockstar, he did something wrong. I want y'all to tap in too. So these monkeys, they say these.
Hold on, before you pay for yet another app to manage your team, let me introduce you to Connect Team, the one platform that replaces all of these. I'm talking about live scheduling.
Trying to get me.
Tonight, the urgent search for dangerous research monkeys that escaped from the wreckage of a crash on a Mississippi highway.
We got 21 monkeys that was on this, got 5 of them on the run.
Video showing several monkeys crawling in the grass. Heavily armed officers responding to the scene. Authorities say a truck carrying nearly 24 rhesus monkeys from Tulane University overturned on Interstate 59 in Jasper County.
Here's one of the monkeys right here. There's one sitting right there.
At least 6 monkeys escaping. Officials warning they might be aggressive towards people and were potentially infected with hepatitis C, herpes, and
They may have to neutralize something out here in a minute.
And late today, police confirming all but one of the escaped monkeys had been euthanized for public safety reasons, adding they're still actively searching for that one monkey still on the...
How they get hepatitis B, herpes, and COVID? That don't even make sense, bro. Hepatitis, man, let me run that back. Did he say COVID? Or was I tripping? Let me see.
With hepatitis C, herpes, and...
They may have to neutralize something out here.
Oh, they muted that. Y'all seen that?
Right there. At least 6 monkeys escaping. Officials warning they might be aggressive towards people and were potentially infected with hepatitis C, herpes, and...
They may have to neutralize something out here in a minute.
And late today, police confirming all but one of the escaped monkeys had been euthanized for public safety reasons, adding they're still actively searching for that one monkey still on the loose.
Well, the monkeys that did not escape from the truck are said to be okay and accounted for. Mola Lungi, ABC News, Washington.
And look, y'all already know on this channel we hold racist Caucasian people accountable, because if we don't, who will? And before we start this video, if you don't like black people, black issues, black talks, get to stepping. In 1955, the U.S. Army carried out a secret experiment called Operation Big Buzz. Over 300,000 mosquitoes were bred in military labs and released across Savannah and nearby rural areas, many of which were poor and predominantly black communities. The military claimed the insects weren't infected, but never told residents they were part of a test. The goal was to study how far lab-raised mosquitoes could travel, bite, and survive, preparing for biological warfare. Army agents even entered homes and churches to count mosquito bites. It exposed how freely the government used black Southern communities as human test subjects, all in the name of national security. Make that make sense. And I keep telling y'all over and over and over again, there's nothing new under the sun. History always repeats itself. Tell me I'm lying. And they can't fool me. I drove trucks for 10 years over the road, and I noticed something. The media never told us the name of the trucking company the truck driver was driving for. The media never showed us the truck driver. All they showed us was the back of the trailer. Who is the truck driver? What company did they drive for? And that truck that crashed in Mississippi with those lab-tested monkeys was not by mistake. But before we go down that rabbit hole, run the tape.
Here's the truck where the accident is. Now here's one of the monkeys right here. Let's zoom in on this so you can see this. There's one sitting right there. I've seen 4 to 5 climbing around inside the back of the trailer, but there he sits. Now each one of these crates has got a monkey in it. Now, with that being said, these are test monkeys, is what they are. We got law enforcement here.
You shouldn't be allowed to do this, bro. You shouldn't be allowed to do this.
And this is one of those, and he's standing there on purpose for this reason, in case one of these, they're highly aggressive.
Just take them out.
We'll walk back just a little bit closer to that Scotty Ray mobile in case something happens and we have to get out of the way of them. How are you? All right, there's a second monkey, Greg. You might want to be careful with this. He's on the prowl there. He's come from inside the truck. He seems to be there. He sits.
Like I always say, make that make sense. Let's slow this thing down. These people told us those monkeys escaped in Jasper, Mississippi. Ironically, Jasper, Mississippi is predominantly black people, 53.2% black. And you telling me that was by accident? Hell no. Then I said, hold on. Those monkeys were being tested in a lab at Tulane University, and it all started to make sense. Check this out. Tulane University was built on land that was once a slave plantation. Before it became a campus, it belonged to Etienne de Boer, a sugar planter who enslaved more than 80 black men, women, and children to build his wealth. The university's benefactor, Paul Tulane, also profited from the slave economy. So while Tulane stands today as a symbol of higher learning, its foundation is rooted in the same plantation system that once thrived on black suffering. Make that make sense? And I'm gonna ask y'all again, y'all don't find this suspicious? And then they have the audacity to lie to us. They said they unalived most of the monkeys and it's only one that's still on the loose. I believe all of them are still on the loose because I believe monkeys are smarter than cops, especially Mississippi cops. And if y'all feel like I'm tripping, in my comment section, tell me I'm tripping. And look, as a truck driver, I traveled I-59 leaving out of Louisiana so many times. So I'm not surprised they dropped those monkeys off in Jasper, Mississippi. It's what they do. The government has always injected animals and insects and released them to the black community. Tell me I'm lying. Hell, they injected humans. Let's travel back to the past right quick. Check this out. Between 1946 and 1948, U.S. researchers backed by Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore and the Public Health Service secretly infected prisoners, soldiers, and orphan children in Guatemala with syphilis and gonorrhea without their consent. Most victims were poor and non-white. The goal was to test how diseases spread and if penicillin could prevent them. The U.S. later admitted it was a crime, exposing how racism and colonial thinking shaped medical research. Make that make sense. And like I told y'all earlier, there's nothing new under the sun. They dropped those infected monkeys off in one of the poorest counties in Mississippi. And I keep telling y'all over and over and over again, do not trust the media. They all on the same team. The scientists, the cops, the trucking companies, the universities, the hospitals, and I can go on and on. They all on the same team. And yes, the game is cold. So before I go, y'all already know I have to speak from the heart. I'm so proud of my people, bro. I'm so proud that my people are waking up because I always told y'all in my videos, when you first hear something, your gut is going to tell you the truth. So when everybody saw the news articles of them saying, oh, monkeys escaped from a truck, we already know what was up. See, back in the past, they can get away with that. We'll be like, damn, the truck crashed. No, we see past that shit. So I'm so happy that my people are finally waking up. To my people in Mississippi, to my people in Louisiana, stay aware, stay alert, because these people are playing in our faces every single day. The whole 2025, they've been playing in our faces. And if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. I'm out.
Trucks overturn all the time on the road, but let me tell you something that doesn't happen all the time. Aggressive monkeys carrying diseases don't just escape in the state of Mississippi, okay? Like, that's not something that just happens all the time in Mississippi. Like, that rarely happens. You know what I mean? And when I say rare, I mean today was the first time that aggressive monkeys carrying diseases escaped from a truck because the truck overturned. Now, I'm hoping and praying that the truck driver is okay. Not one time when I was reading the article did I ever think to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, let me see if the truck driver's okay. Literally, all I was thinking about was, oh my gosh, this was way too close to where I'm at for them to be talking about some aggressive monkeys carrying diseases are running rampant. After the day has passed, according to the news, all of the monkeys except one have now been destroyed. So that's good. You know what I mean? That's good. I don't really have any instructions for y'all if you see a monkey like running around, because I don't even know what I'm gonna do. So that's that. But literally what I can tell y'all is that they literally said that they were aggressive.
When someone fails to pay their property taxes,
So as y'all see with the monkeys, we know that it ain't no. We know what they're doing. It's always an experiment against us. But then when we talk about getting paid and reparations, they go to act like none of this stuff never happened. Redlining ain't never happened. Nothing never happened. We just, we tripping. Now, y'all don't know on this channel, I've been going over Shedeur Sanders, right? How they got this Gabriel quarterback that's playing ahead of Shedeur, and the man is so garbage, bro. It's like, it's really a disgrace. They got people like protesting to play Shedeur. They like, play Shedeur, play Shedeur. They still ain't playing Shedeur, but we do got an update. I'm gonna play this one for y'all because I do want to see Shedeur. I think they doing them wrong right now. they really trying to like bury him on a contract, but he speaks out. And I want to know what y'all think about
What's going
this.
on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. And it looked like Shedeur Sanders is telling the world he is getting prepared.
Man.
For what you might ask, that's what we're going to talk about. For this one here, we got to go all the way up to Cleveland. Let's get it. Let's go.
We be on that, we be on.
I hope everybody is having a great day today, bro. It is Thursday, a day before Halloween. Shedeur had a little downtime last night, and he decided to jump on Twix and chop it up with the fans, bro. Now, one thing about Shedeur and his brothers, they always gonna show love to the fans because we all know without the fans, the hype wouldn't be as big, he wouldn't be as big, and hell, none of us will be as big as we are, especially in the Shedeur, Dion, whatever genre this is that has been created these last couple years, man. So shout out to each and every last one of you guys. Now, we know one of the hottest storylines in the NFL is Shedeur Sanders going to start this New York Jets game because we know Dylan Gabriel's bad. I mean, he's really, really bad. And I don't want to hear people say, well, we shouldn't prey on Dylan downfall. We didn't have to prey on Dylan downfall. We already knew Dylan downfall was going to come regardless because he ain't like that. Never been like that. Never going to be like that. And why in the hell is he even in the game like that? That's what I'm talking about, bro.
I'm with you on
now,
that.
with that being said, we know there has been reports. We have seen Shedeur like little things in here and there. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know definitively if Shedeur is going to play in that Jets game. I can't get on here and say, guess what, y'all? I heard this, I heard that, because I ain't heard nothing about him playing as of yet. I got to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? I ain't heard nothing about which game he's going to play. Now, with that being said, we know Shedeur Sanders liked it to tweet the other day. Shedeur liked it to tweet the other day from somebody saying that, you know what I'm saying, he should be the starter. Now, Shedeur was on Twitch last night. Shout out to the homeboy JK who be getting all the juice. He captured this from Shedeur Twitch. This is what Shedeur had to say last night about preparing for the game, getting started, and doing. Just listen to this.
Am I coming to see you homecoming? Nah, I'm not coming to see you homecoming. I can't make it out there.
My name is.
I wish I could though, but
what's up, Dad?
It just can't happen. I got treatment out here. I can't be in. I gotta get ready. Big ready. Am I coming?
Now he stated he got treatment. Now we don't know what type of treatment he's talking about. My guess will be the back injury. You know, a lot of people thought that the back injury, even me, y'all, even me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take accountability. You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely thought that back injury was fake. I didn't think it was real. I just gotta be honest, bro, because you can't trust the Cleveland Browns. You can't trust them right now. You can't trust the reports that come out. You can't trust the depth chart. You can't trust shit from Cleveland, bro. And my bad, Shedeur, bro. I didn't know if it was for real or not. I just gotta keep it 100. Now, the fact of the matter is, Shedeur saying he got treatment. And with that being said, bro, he also said he got to get big ready. Him getting big ready spells big time game decision, big time Shedeur about to play. That's what I'm picking up.
I wish it happened.
Is saying, drop down in the comment section right now if y'all think it could be saying something else. Because I don't know 100%, man. Now, there is something else that I wanted to talk about yesterday, but I just did not get around to it because I was super duper busy. That is former Browns wide receiver speaking about Shedeur Sanders. Let me see if I can get this. I think his name Josh Cripps. I don't know. Josh Cripps. So Josh Cripps got a podcast, the Top Dog Show. I think this it right here, y'all. So if y'all ain't done so, subscribe to the Top Dog Show because he be getting a lot of intel too, dog. Let me make sure I'm following it too while I'm telling y'all. But they talked about Shedeur yesterday, I believe. Let's see here. It was a couple little clips I want to play. Okay, here go one here, y'all. Let's listen to this.
I don't think they ever intended for him to be the starter.
Marquis,
I
appreciate
think when he was
in,
drafted, now I feel like it's all coming together.
What do they have to lose?
It was value. It ain't about.
Look at the product that's been out there now.
It's not about.
Like I said, they either saving him because they don't want him to play in this terrible offense, or Stefanski just doesn't care about him.
So if he was, I don't think they ever intended.
Now, many people were saying that it's the Stefanski don't like Shedeur. Somebody said Stefanski was racist. I can't say that he is or he ain't racist.
I seen them protesting outside the stadium. I seen a lot of people talking about, look, man, fire the coach. We want Shedeur to play. So I don't know, man. I think that the coach probably gonna get fired.
The one thing I can tell you, he ain't playing Shedeur. I think we all could say he ain't playing Shedeur. Then we all know how bad Dylan Gabriel is. And for whatever reason, he decided not to play the homeboy, man. Boy, oh boy.
Monkeypox.
I think somebody said that. Okay, right. Think about this, y'all. Let's just put our thinking caps on, right? Stefanski know he probably finna get fired. Now, he plays Shedeur, right? Shedeur go out there and do what Shedeur do. Ball, right? So Kevin Stefanski, that is going to expedite his termination, bro. Shedeur go out there and ball, drop 35-40 on him in the big league. Drop 35-40, 300 passing yards, about 4 touchdowns. You know, he go out there and just ball. Y'all don't think that?
It's good to see the fans, though, standing behind him. I never seen fans stand behind a player like they standing behind Shedeur. It's like you can't even do Shedeur any kind of way. Like, it's a lot going on. You can't really play him how you gotta play him. Like, they gotta play him.
Let's go expedite Kevin Stefanski getting fired, because I think that is grounds for terminating immediately.
Straight up. I think he need to get fired. Because I don't feel like it ain't even like it's just a little bit of people saying it. A lot of people saying that the coach probably may be a little racist. You know, he ain't trying to see the man win. But shout out to you. Racehead, what you was talking about, man? Monkeypox? It cures that pox family. I don't know, man. If they trying to let out monkeypox, that's crazy, though. But I wanted to show y'all this one last one, bro, with how they rocking. I know I gotta put you on. Well, I gotta put y'all on to what they talking about right now. But I got to put y'all on. My girl Savvy Sad. But I was finna do a video, man, on Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Both of them called each other the Fed. I'm gonna play y'all what Sabby Sab said, but both of them claim that, you know, they thought each other was the Fed. So I'm like, I thought both of them was the Feds, in my opinion. So check this out. I want y'all to hear Sabby Sab's opinion on this, but I had took some notes on it at all, man. I was going to do a review on it, but I like what Sabby Sab did, so I'm gonna play with her, and I'm gonna give y'all my commentary on it. Let's get it.
So what finally happened, Tucker Carlson did interview Nick Fuentes. And, you know, after calling him a Fed and all that kind of stuff. Some people say both of them are Feds. I don't know. But he did interview him. And there are a couple of parts I do want to touch on during this discussion. The first one, how Nick Fuentes got into, you know, that space to begin with. This was shocking to me. I did not know how much Ben Shapiro was involved.
Now, Nick Fuentes always say black people. Anytime, like he did a speech where he was like, hey, I want to talk to black people. But in this interview, right, Tucker Carlson highlighted on him and he felt like, all people are different. They're their own person. You can't just group of people up. And my point is why they didn't bring up how he does that to black people all the time. It's like he speaks to just black people. And he was on there and say, yeah, I do feel, but you go online talking to black people in general.
Involved here. So let's go ahead and start with that. And then we're going to get to some of the things that he said about Israel as well.
I wrote a big article about this. I tweeted about it. I tweeted at Ben Shapiro. I said, I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel. And he quote tweets me. And at this time, I have 1,000 followers on Twitter.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a freshman.
Still a freshman in college, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is even before I started my show. And I don't know.
He's the feds, bro. They get you early. So he 18, like I'm telling you, just like the other dude, they be grabbing them up and grooming them.
Probably got 100 likes on this tweet. It wasn't a viral tweet. He quote tweets me and says, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, though. I do believe that.
And like, this is how it sort of begins. And I see this tweet. And by the way, that was on Christmas Eve in 2016.
He immediately called you an anti-Semite.
Mm-hmm. So I'm driving to Christmas Eve Mass with my family. And I see on Twitter, the notification comes up. Ben Shapiro quote tweets me, calling me an anti-Semite. And I was like, what is this? Like, why is this guy attacking me? Because I don't have a platform at this time. I'm not an influential guy or anything. And so then I put out another tweet similar. I said something like, if you're China first, you should live in China. If you're Mexico first, you should live in Mexico. If you're Israel first, maybe you should go live in Israel. And
I agree with that, man. I definitely agree with that. But how we be talking about our people, man, it'd be a lot of controlled opposition going on.
Again, he quote tweets me and says, you're an anti-Semite.
That same night?
This was, I think, a couple weeks later.
So in other words, it was Ben Shapiro that gave Nick Fuentes more attention by retweeting him and calling him anti-Semitic. That actually drew more eyes and attention to Nick Fuentes. Otherwise, that people may not have would have known of him.
For real.
Let's continue.
Happened a little bit further down the line. And so,
were you surprised that he knew you were?
Yeah, I was. I was surprised at why he cared.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking,
bro, he cared because he know you. He know what you trying to do. So y'all all working together. I think we know what's going on. I don't know what they trying to do with this guy, but he working with him.
How does he even know who I am or what I'm about? And it turned out that Cassie Dillon, she had texted him earlier and she wanted him to take me under his wing. She texted him after that debate and said, you really like this guy. He's amazing. He did this great debate. She goes, but he's a little too pro-Trump. He's a little too Trumpy. And he goes, I'll take a look. And so I guess the two of them were kind of like grooming me in a sense.
You see?
They wanted me to go maybe and be a Daily Wire or maybe looking me as a potential conservative activist or influencer.
Groomed already, bro.
And so they started paying attention to me. And the more critical of Israel I was, I started to get this really intense pushback from the both of them and from a lot of the people at Daily Wire.
Why do you think, so you're an 18-year-old college freshman, you're clearly talented and you're engaged, you're really interested, and you ask not crazy questions like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And rather than explain it, they just call you a racist, call you an anti-Semite. Like, that's the first response. That seems like the least effective. Well, it turned out to be not very effective in your case, but that seems like the least effective thing you could do. Why do you think
they did that? So first of all, Tucker cracks me up sometimes because Tucker, I think you know the answer to this question. They do it because it works. It's a trick. It's an old trick that continues to work for whatever reason, although I think it's losing some of its steam which is to smear people and to call them that because it works. They did it to Charles Barron when he ran against Hakeem Jeffries. They did it to Dr. Jill Stein. She's Jewish, by the way. They've done it to a number of people because they know it works. That's why they did it. But that part right there, I thought was pretty interesting, that it appears Ben Shapiro and them, I guess, were trying to get him over towards, the Daily Wire side of things, and it didn't work that way.
Yeah,
all right?
That's it, Marquis. For real.
So
he winning over the women.
Let's get to the next part, because I thought this was pretty interesting.
Pull out my notes.
Now we get to the Israel conversation. One of the things I think that's been pretty interesting to me is that Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson alike, they say you shouldn't focus on identity politics. Let's not get into all that, right? But they still focus on identity politics. Like, so it's like, and that's what you're going to see. And it's like, more so, yeah, you don't focus on identity politics, but what Nick Fuentes is really telling you is not to focus on certain identities, right? Because he does focus on identity. I'm going to show you a flashback of when he sat down with Candace Owens, how he was the one who brings up identity. Let's get into this here.
Well, what about my views do you think are unreasonable, if yours are reasonable?
I think, again, I don't think it's cucky. I think it's reality to say that guilt is not inherited. Blood guilt is bad. One of the reasons that I'm mad about Gaza is because the Israeli position is everyone who lives in Gaza is a terrorist because of how they were born, including the women and the children. That's not a Western view. That's an Eastern view. That's a non-Christian. That's totally incompatible with Christianity and Western civilization. They say, oh, we're the defenders of Western civilization. Not with that attitude. You're not. Collective punishment is the enemy of Western civilization.
Yeah.
And so I hate that attitude. It's genocidal. The current claims that I'm a cancer, from Ben Shapiro, whatever, we need to be excised from the body of conservatism is a genocidal position that it basically encourages violence, as they well know. The whole thing I hate.
Mm-hmm.
So like anytime you say a whole group of people is responsible for the sins of some of its members, like I'm out.
Yeah.
Nah, bruh. So here's the thing. It's interesting. Everyone has this clear conscience now all of a sudden, right? Tucker Carlson did that exact same behavior when he was a part of Fox News. Oh, yes, he did. There were different groups of people that he would choose to focus on from time to time. Now, Tucker Carlson, along with Rachel Maddow, they were able to argue in court that they weren't news, they were infotainment. But the reality is, he exactly did that. You did that. You chose to focus on groups and to make generalizations about these groups. Yes, you did. In fact, you had a whole career doing just that. But it's just funny, like now all of a sudden, I have this epiphany. We can't generalize people.
No,
you generalized people for years on Fox. You did so. Yes. Now, Nick Fuentes says here that he agrees, right? But he also makes generalizations about groups of people, which you are going to see. Let's continue here.
But that's not my view.
It's not. Okay. So tell me your views. Like, rather than, you're one of those people, one of the reasons I wanted to meet you is you're one of those people who is defined by clips.
Yes.
And I'm one of those people also.
Yes.
Right? So I get it. So I'm going to just shut up and you tell me what you actually believe.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I mean, and I appreciate you saying that because that's just the reality of the media environment we're in. So I don't expect you to know all my views, but I mean, as far as the Jews are concerned, I think that, like I said, you cannot actually divorce Israel and the neocons and all of those things that you talk about from Jewishness, ethnicity, religion, identity. And let me give you like a perfect example. So you say on your show that we need to treat Israel like any other country. And I sort of understand that in principle because Israel is another foreign country.
Yeah.
But Israel is unlike every other country in the sense that because the Jewish people are in a diaspora all over the world, there are significant numbers of Jews in Europe, but also in the United States. And because of their unique heritage and story, which is that they're a stateless people, they're unassimilable, they resist assimilation for thousands of years. And I think that's a good thing. And now they have this territory in Israel. there's a deep religious affection for the state. It's bound up in their identity, the story of the Exodus from Egypt, the promise of the land, all these things. So let's say in the United States, for example, somebody like a Sheldon Adelson, he's not Israeli. Is he an ideological neocon? Does he believe in the promise of democratic globalism? I don't think necessarily. His heart is in Israel. And it's because he is a proud Jewish person. And
pause. This is the problem. Nick Fuentes is conflating Judaism with Zionism, right? And I'll show you a comparison in just a second. So you can't compare everybody to Sheldon Adelson. We have to remember when I went to cover the campus protests, a lot of the students who were out there protesting for Gaza were Jewish students. A lot of them, anti-Zionist Jewish students. When we went to the Boston pro-Palestinian protests, the ones in DC, a lot of the people who were out there were people who were anti-Zionist Jews. So this is the danger with the conflating the two. And I got to be very clear about this, ladies and gentlemen. There is a difference between Judaism and Zionism. I have had a number of people come onto this show over the years that have really broke this down, right? So he brings up the religion aspect. So let me get to that example, and then I'll come back to what Nick is saying here. Katie Halper, she came on. This was, I think, right after October 7th. Katie Halper came on and she explained this so well. Katie Halper is a great example to point to. You know why? Katie Halper she doesn't practice Judaism. So she's not religious, but she is ethnically Jewish. Listen to what Katie said here.
Again, I don't think Netanyahu is particularly religious, and a lot of the founders of Israel weren't religious. So I don't think it's a religious conflict. I think a lot of people who don't want to look at the historical material context want to pretend, oh, this is just a religious thing, and they've been fighting for thousands of years. And no, it's not that. And Jews and Muslims have coexisted in many instances. This is not about incompatible religions. This is about people being expelled from where they were. It's about ethnic cleansing, and it's about weaponizing what really was a tragedy and really was a horror, which is the Holocaust, and before that, the pogroms. What's so sad is that it weaponizes those things to ethnically cleanse other people. That's what's so upsetting. And I think what we're seeing are lots of Jews saying, not in my name, and our Jewish identity says, speak out against this. Never again is now. I went to a protest on Friday, arranged by Jewish Voice for Peace, and if not now. And it was really moving. And there were a bunch of Jews who were saying, never again is now, ceasefire now. They see this as part of their Jewish identity, speaking out, precisely because of what happened to their families.
So Katie Halper, number one, I am never wearing that sweater again. I didn't realize what it looked like on camera, and I'm never dyeing my hair that color again. Never.
Please don't.
But Katie Halper is a good example to point to, right? Because Katie Halper, obviously, strong ally for the pro-Palestinian movement. She's Jewish, she's anti-Zionist, but she doesn't practice Judaism. So Nick Fuentes, and someone already pointed it out in the chat. I'll go back to it in just a second here. Nick Fuentes is conflating the two. And yes, FM said he's intentionally conflating the two. Right. Because then what happens is you have people making that generalization about all Jewish people, and that is not the case. Most of the Zionists, especially here in the United States, are Christian Zionists. So this is where a lot of this comes from, and it is important that we make that distinction.
It's never been easier to start a podcast than with Riverside. Here's how it works. First, go to Riverside.
Now, let's go ahead and continue on here a little bit.
And I guess what I'm saying is that if you are a Jewish person in America, you're sort of,
they don't.
And again, it's not because they're born, but it's sort of a rational self-interest politically to say, I'm a minority. I'm a religious ethnic minority. This is not really my home. My ancestral home is in Israel. There's like a natural affinity that Jews have for Israel. And I would say on top of that, for the international Jewish community. They're extremely organized. And many of them are critical of Israel or Israel's current government or the project of Israel. But I guess what they have in common, unlike, let's say, like Singapore, for example, is that they have this international community across borders, extremely organized, that is putting the interests of themselves before the interests of their home country. And there's no other country that has a similar arrangement like that. No other country has a strong identity like that, this religious blood and soil conviction, this history of being in the diaspora, stateless, wandering, persecuted, and in particular, the historic animosity between the Jewish people and the Europeans.
So here's another problem, right? Israel is a secular state. Israel is not a religious state. It is secular, right? 2, there are Palestinian Jews in Israel as well. So this is a big part of the argument, which Tucker Carlson doesn't say this. He doesn't push back on him and say what I just told you, that Israel is not a religious state. When Nick Fuentes make these arguments, it gives people the impression who are not aware of the situation or not maybe as knowledgeable of the situation. It can give them the impression that Israel is a religious state, and it's not. Benjamin Netanyahu is not even religious. It's a secular state.
That's crazy.
Let's go on a little bit more here.
They hate the Romans because the Romans destroyed the temple. That's why Eric Weinstein goes to the Arch of Titus and gives it the finger and takes a picture. We don't think like that as Americans and white people. We don't think about the Roman Empire in 2,000 years ago. They
Americans
do.
And white people.
And so I guess that's really, and I don't think that's me saying the Jews.
Y'all heard what he said? He said Americans and white people. I don't know if y'all caught that. He definitely said, let me rewind. He definitely said Americans and white people. What do you mean by that?
We don't think like that as Americans and white people. We don't think about the Roman Empire in 2,000 years ago.
What do you mean by Americans and white people?
Because the Romans destroyed the temple. That's why Eric Weinstein goes to the Arch of Titus and gives it the finger and takes a picture. We don't think like that as Americans and white people. We don't think about the Roman Empire in 2,000 years ago. They do. And so I guess that's really, and I don't think that's me saying the Jews. I don't think that's me being hateful.
Bro, he literally said Americans and the white people. Basically what we saying, we are the Americans. Like Americans, like, you know, with the native, they don't even, so we know that he was talking about us. He was talking about us, fam.
I don't think that's me being collectivist. I think that's understanding that identity politics, whether you love it or hate it, whatever you feel about it, it's a reality that we live in a world of Jews and Christians, of whites and blacks. These identities mean something to us and they mean things to each other, and we can't sort of wish them away. And it feels like white people and Christians are the only ones that do that.
There's no question.
So do everybody see what he is doing, right? So you got to be very careful. And I see a lot of people falling for this. What Nick Fuentes is doing is this whole idea of, oh, let's not focus on identity and let's just da-da-da. But he is focusing on identity. He just doesn't want you to focus on those identities that he's referring to. So that is something I've been pushing back on for quite some time. A number of them. It's not just Nick Fuentes, but all these people say, Ben Shapiro, don't talk about identity. No identity politic. Facts don't care about your feelings. Who spent a lot of time talking about identity? Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro. So people have to pay attention to the game that is being played here. This whole, no, we don't really want to get into identity or anything like that. But, you know, so then he gets into identity. And I want to give you an example. When Nick Fuentes interviewed Candace Owens, right? when she interviewed him, excuse me.
Get him, Savvy.
Watch who brings up the identity. Here we go.
Do you attend the mass?
I do.
Do you go every Sunday?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so you're like a committed Catholic. Then obviously, the perspectives on family. I mean, I personally, and this would be me lecturing, but I just feel like you really have no idea who you are until you start a family. And whether that means just marriage, some people who are struggling to have children, okay, fine. But there's such a growth that happens because of that I think it informs your beliefs in so many ways. And I think that was a huge turning point for me. Like, I wonder if I had been pressed with everything that happened last year, if I didn't have like the unshaken faith and my family, what would I have done? And sometimes when I see the things that you say, I do think, okay, he doesn't take into account family. Like, it's just Nick. Nick is in his own world, which can be, I think, a quite selfish perspective, which is fine. That's what you're saying. You like being selfish is another way to say what you just said. I like being selfish and I don't want to give of myself to somebody else.
No, Nick Fuentes is against Black women marrying white men in interracial relationships. And to be real with y'all, both of these women, Candace Owens and Savvy, is doing an interracial vibe. But it is what it is. But Nick is not with that. And a lot of women aren't going to like that at all. That he said.
But I also think
And I'll even say, I don't agree with what Candace is saying here. I don't think you have to be married or start a family to fully discover who you are as a person, right? But listen to the response.
There's something selfless involved, which is to say, I could go and start a family and drag them into a world of mine, which is pretty.
Not even her last name is Salvati. I think she Salvati. I think she married a Caucasian dude. It was a picture, probably not Caucasian. I think he's like Italian or something. That's an Italian name. But yeah, I think she married an Italian guy. But I don't know if she FBA. We got to look at it. But Sabrina, with a first name like Sabrina, I probably think she probably look
chaotic.
FBA. We got to research.
I mean, is this really the kind of a lifestyle? If I'm banned on everything and I can't make a living, I'm banned from banking, I'm banned from credit card processing, I'm getting doxxed, people are showing up to my house trying to kill me, things like that. And what's more, I mean, let's also get, I also don't appreciate the lecture. You don't know me, so I know you're married. I know you're older than me, but you don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my situation. I don't think you're in a position to give me advice, especially as a woman, honestly. I don't think women, this is something in the right wing. We say we're anti-feminist, and then women go around telling men what to do. We're not.
So again, look who brings up identity, right?
Candace FBA though.
So does everybody see the game that Nick Fuentes plays?
Sabrina not.
We'll take it back a little bit more here because I cut it off.
When we say we're anti-feminist, and then women go around telling men what to do. We're not their husbands. And, I don't really buy into that ideologically, but that's besides the point. My life has been tumultuous from the very beginning.
If you are.
So does everybody see that little game there? Like, he could have disagreed with what she said without bringing, oh, you're a woman. The people who keep saying don't talk about identity, keep talking about identity. Imagine that. So this is a big part of the game, right? So Nick Fuentes sits there right in front of Tucker Carlson. He conflates Judaism with Zionism. It's not the same thing. Zionism is a supremacist ideology. Zionism was created by Theodore Herzl. Theodore Herzl was not religious. So they're not the same. But to FM's point, he's doing that on purpose. Let's hear the part about weed. I think some of you appreciate this. Let's get into the part here about the weed.
It's interesting. Your audience, as I imagine it, I've never seen any of your numbers. I don't even know how big your audience is. It seems big to me, but I think of them as young men. Because that's the bulk of your audience, right?
Yes.
And yet here you are criticizing weed and video games and the internet, and you work on the internet. You are a creation. I mean, you wouldn't exist without the internet, of course. You didn't get a job at NBC News. So what kind of reaction do you get when you criticize weed gaming in the internet to young men?
A lot of them agree with it because they get it. It's their life. A lot of them, that's their life. Their life is, and another thing we didn't even bring up is the porn thing, which is there also. This is their life. Weed, gaming, porn. And I think they know it's bad. I think they know there's like some sense of guilt. And so it's interesting. I would say it's maybe an 80-20 split where 20% say, oh, you're against weed? Not cool, man. It's just a plant. Well, they're very defensive about it, about these addictions. And I think 80% say, I know I have a problem. Like I have a guilty conscience. I know it's bad. I know it's terrible.
Why are you against weed?
Because I think that it's compromises the integrity of your mental faculties. I think there's something deeply wrong with that. When you, I'm against alcohol too. I think it's wrong to numb pain. I think pain is a part of life. I think
So I think he's referring to people who abuse it, right? So there's one word that's missing from all of this, and that's moderation.
No.
Right? I don't smoke. It's not my thing. Tried it a couple times. I don't really appreciate having munchies. It's me. It's not my thing. I didn't like the way that it made me feel. But I do know people that do. And I know people that smoke, and they don't smoke every day. They might smoke every now and then, maybe on the weekend, or maybe like once a month, or maybe after an event or something like that. Moderation. Same thing with alcohol. You can have a drink, right? There's a difference between having a drink on a Friday night and having a drink every day. So the key thing there is moderation. And I'm very against like this all or nothing approach where it's like, you can't do any of that because if you do this, then you're going to end up like this and da-da-da-da. Remind me of that movie called Reefer Madness. I mean, back in the day, like people smoked weed and all of a sudden they got really like excited and anxious and crazy and all that from weed. Everyone I've seen smoke weed either got the munchies or was chill as hell. So that's the thing. It's like moderation, but this all or nothing approach. And this is what I said before when I was a part of the Pentecostal church. They had that same type of mindset, this all or nothing approach. You can't watch TV because it's the devil. Don't play video games because that's also the devil. Girls don't wear pants because that means you're like a Jezebel from the Bible days. Don't wear jewelry or makeup because of that same reason. Is like they always take it there. So that's why, when I told you guys, I said I had to get out of there, the people's crazy. That's why, that all or nothing approach. And there is a such thing as moderation, which they don't bring up. He doesn't bring it up, and Tucker Carlson doesn't bring it up.
Sobriety is like, should be experienced. And I think that weed is even worse because I think that, one, it's very dangerous. There's a lot of numbers now out of like California and Washington that people are going to the hospital for psychosis. People are going crazy because of
it. It's also more subtle and therefore more insidious. Like you can't, I've done it. If you have a, 12 pack for breakfast, like everyone knows. But if you take a hit off the dab pen, like nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it all the time.
Yeah. And it makes you a loser. It makes you lazy. People that are addicted to weed are not motivated, don't care about anything other than weed. There's sort of like an irony there where I used to hang out with a lot of stoners in high school. I never smoked weed, but all my friends did. And they were so chill and relaxed and didn't care about anything. But if you criticized weed, they would freak out and get extremely defensive.
Yes, I've noticed.
Right? If you insinuate that it's addictive, if you say it's a problem, they get very like junkie behavior.
So again, I think there's a difference between someone that has an addiction and someone that is doing that in moderation. That's like, you can't make this assumption that like everybody that smokes weed is addicted to weed. That is not the case. Just like everyone that drinks.
Yeah. Nick is a Fruit Loop weirdo, bro. I mean, he try to generalize everything. I think they're trying to make him possibly be the president. So, but what y'all think about this? Michael Phelps smoke. Right, man. Michael Phelps, you ain't say nothing about him. A lot of them judges, man. You know how many judges in Florida got caught? Like they got fired for smoking weed. Like, It's crazy. But Nick Fuentes is working for the Fed, so he probably saying whatever he can say to make money off of it. I don't trust what Nick Fuentes say, man. I don't believe he really gonna keep it real. But yeah, but the headline, y'all, the 12 officers got arrested. No, it was 22 people, they said. 22 officers, got arrested for selling drugs, or letting people sell drugs and get same thing. But I think it's a lot of that going on right now. Yeah, Elon Musk a dope fiend. I think it's a lot of the police selling drugs right now. Telling you. And not even selling it, it's just like they probably got somebody on their team where they let them sell drugs, but they're going to get everybody else. So I think we need to abolish the police credibility of taking people away for drugs, because it's a money game right now. But that's my opinion, man. I want to know what y'all think. I'm going to be going live tomorrow. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all smash that like button, man. I really appreciate that. Push this on the algorithm. Shout out to Call Dog, Race Head, OG Lace Drug. My old boy even tapped in. And man, y'all know how we do. Tania, Markeith, everybody who tapped in on the show, man. We're gonna be live tomorrow. We'll tap in. Make sure y'all tap in. Love, appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace and love.